you have to complain. No. Oh, in the act. You got to comply. You got to comply because you want to survive that encounter.
Real life street stars. We are the streets. Make sure you ring that bell and subscribe to get the latest interviews and music videos.
This question is for Officer Bankston. What would you say for those that, you know, are driving down the road, they see them lights come up behind them.
Yes, Lord.
A lot of thoughts are going through their head. They know people get shot. They know things happen once that officer walks up. What is the proper procedure that a young man, you know, first time getting put over by the police, don't know what to do? He's nervous. What is the proper procedure, what he should be doing and cooperating?
Well, that's a good question. At this point, I tell my sons, keep your hands on the steering wheel, be respectful to the officer. If he's being difficult, just deal with it. But we definitely have to complain. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the things I don't think citizens realize. Every complaint is documented. And if those departments are not doing something about those complaints, if that officer is getting the same complaint, he or she is establishing a pattern. And if it's not being addressed locally, the federal government is supposed to do audits. And if they see that that's happening, then they're supposed to come in and, I guess, give that department a warning. But, like, that was the thing about Mike Brown. So much was discovered through that whole case. Like, they were doing some, I don't mean to get off the question, but they were doing some things that were so unconstitutional, you know. But for now, I'm gonna say this, remember you're dealing with a human being with a gun. And I tell my kids and anybody that asks me, if just like you're dealing with, if somebody on the street came up to you and was aggravated with you about something and you saw the gun in their waist, hey, just answer the question, whatever they want, get away from it. Because you just don't know where that human being's mind is at that point in time. I even get nervous when I get pulled over, to be honest. I keep my badge right here, and I got a gun on me right now. So if I'm saying, hey, I'm a police officer, reach for my badge, I'm still looking at this person wondering, is he somebody that's infiltrated the police department? He might do something to me, because y'all notice I'm pretty outspoken. So,
I got a question.
okay.
I just want to kind of re-ask the question. What is the proper procedure when you if I think all police officers are bad, so that's my perspective. But when you from your perspective, when you're getting pulled over by one of those bad apples, okay, you got somebody who has a grudge against you, then what do you do?
That's what I'm saying. If they're pulling you over, and it sounds like you're saying if they're mistreating you, you have to complain. No. Oh, in the act. You got to comply. You got to comply because you want to survive that encounter.
Let me say something on that, man. I'm going to tell you something. I never forget. I was working for the prison. I was the gang specialist at the prison. And I was coming home. I was picking up my two children. I had a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. I was picking up my babies. And I had some tickets because, you know, in the hood you don't pay your tickets. And the guy pulled me over. And an older white police officer, this is back 90-something, this dude, he had a cigarette, man. He blew that cigarette in my face. He said, you have warrants. I said, yeah, I got some tickets. I said, but I got my kids. He said, let me tell you this. Those kids are going to CPS tonight, and you going to jail. He said, so get out, you get out this car. And then my kids are screaming, you know, they crying. These my babies, man. They crying, and you know, please, you know, they're 2 and 3. They don't understand. And I'm trying to be calm, and I'm saying, don't worry about that. It's gonna be. And man, and he put the handcuffs on me, and he, you know, he was aggressive, calling other police. I'll never forget, just out of anger, man, out of a reaction. I never forget. I had my hand cuffed. I said, I'm gonna kill you. I said, I'm gonna kill you, man. He laughed. He said, are you gonna kill me? How you gonna kill me? What you gonna do? And he was like, you know, it was a joke to him, but in my brother, cause all I could hear is my kids screaming and hollering. And I said, I'm gonna kill you, my brother. I mean that. And he figured out I had a badge from the prison. He said, why ain't you tell me you was one of us, boy? And he uncuffed me, told the guy, no, go. He said, go on, man, get out of here. And I never forget driving back saying, man, this is before social media, internet. But now when I see it, I know how easy it is for you to lose your mind in that moment. Because that was just a moment where I just lost my understanding that I was helpless. So I tell young brothers, I say, brother, man, listen, man, I know it's difficult, but regardless of what you think, he's right. You got to comply and don't lose your mind because you could lose your life. Just like that. Yeah. I mean, we're not saying that. See, we understand that there could be instances where complying makes you a victim and vulnerable in this. But you got to play. You know, you ever shot dice? You ever shot some dice before? We got to play the odds, brother. Sometimes, you know, the goal is bigger than the road, so the goal is to get home. Now, sometimes you have people who are so wicked that their spirits is down. You know,
but then what about Botham Jean? Botham Jean didn't do anything. He didn't have to comply. He didn't have to listen to the officer, but he still did everything he had to do, and he lost his life.
I understand, but you can't. No, let me say something to the brother. I got you.
Okay.
But you can't live on the extreme axis and say that is the example for every interaction. That's like me saying the time me and my wife got into it, our marriage is based on that argument. See, now I got a whole nother set of data that I got to use, not just the extreme data, to say that's how I interact. You can't do that, and they were wrong and need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Would you say that we do have enough data to say black people, when we have experiences with police officers, there is a high probability that something will happen to us?
Oh, absolutely.
So then we have to kind of take that in consideration when we talking about dealing with the police and just complying. And even when we have examples where time and time again, people have complied or they have done nothing, like a Tatiana Jefferson, like Breonna Taylor, like Ahmaud, and they still get their life taken. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta find a more dynamic.
So here's the thing. We know that. We stand with that. We stand on that. Like I said, my organization is OGs. Everybody I got that had that incident, including me. I've been in jail probably more than anybody up here, and I wasn't visiting. So I overstand. But this is what you got to ask yourself, what do you do?
Shout out Reallyfe Street Starz, nigga. Mola.